we now have word from the Pentagon about the MOSUL ORB pic dropped by Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp. Ever since that pic dropped a few days ago, we've been wondering how the Pentagon was going to respond to this. Well, now we have a semi-official response from Susan Gough, who has been the one from the Pentagon interacting with the public on this sort of stuff. And she responded to John Greenwald from the Black Vault. So let's get into that response. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Get in here. Please like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you do subscribe, that'd be awesome. Please share this video when it drops on social media. That would be super helpful. And please comment below as I'm going through the story. Okay, I'm just going to read what Susan Gough, am I saying that right? Is it Gough? Is it Gough? Anyway, Gough, I'm going to call her Gough. What Susan Gough said to John Greenwald. We're not going to comment on remarks by unnamed sources alleging leaks from a classified report. Yeah, great. Thanks a lot, Susan Gough. Speaking about U.A.P. and AARO, she says the Department of Defense takes public interest in U.A.P. seriously. The department is committed to openness and accountability to the American people. Yeah, they're so committed. I mean, they lied their butts off in the U.A.P. report that just came out. Well, in as much as they said anything. I mean, there was really nothing in the report, but what was in the report were lies. You know, claiming that there's no health effects related to U.A.P. activity, when clearly there are. Clearly there are collisions. See the excellent video by Preston Dennett where he outlines a whole bunch of very credible cases where there have been collisions between UFOs, U.A.P., and human vehicles, from planes, trains, to automobiles. Believe it or not, yes, UFOs have collided with trains and cars. Yeah, I mean, whatever. How that makes sense, I don't know, but how do they keep crashing? So, whatever. And there's that awesome incident reported by David Paulides in the movie that he just released, Missing 411, The UFO Connection, where a UFO is abducting an elk, possibly for food, possibly for some sort of mutilation like the cow mutilations. And it crashes into a tree after it abducts the cow, or the elk, excuse me. So, anyway. So these things are not infallible. They crash into stuff, and the report was openly lying when it said there were no collisions. But the agenda behind them saying there are no health effects and no collisions are they don't want people to be alarmed. They don't, nothing to see here, folks. Move along, nothing to see here. And that is what they are saying. So they are openly lying in the report. That is presumably okayed or the agenda of Sean Kirkpatrick, who is now running AARO. That is why I have very little confidence in AARO going forward, at least as far as public disclosure goes. I think behind the scenes stuff is happening. Congress is being briefed. There are wheels turning and stuff beginning to go on at a congressional level regarding UFOs for like the first time ever, really, as far as actually getting something done. So that'll be interesting to see, and we will get to see some of that going forward, but not enough. And they are clearly not committed to any sort of disclosure to the public. So they lied in the report. So when Susan Gough says they are committed to openness and accountability to the American people, that's funny, but it's sad. So she said, continuing, she says, which it must balance with its obligation to protect sensitive information, sources, and methods. Yeah, BS. They could release the high definition Tic Tac video at any time. Or maybe the longer version of that, or the gimbal, or any of the other videos. They could release the MOSUL ORB video. It's only 4 seconds long. The U.A.P. is only in frame for about a second, supposedly. It was taken in 2006, I think. So you can't tell me that's, going to damage national security if they release that 4-second video. Or hell, just the 1 second, Yeah. So the BS continues. She says, AARO is working to develop a means to provide updates to the public on U.A.P. cases, including sharing the analytic approach and method used. Yeah, they're so committed. They're so committed to sharing this stuff with us, and they're really working on a method. That's the problem is, they really want to disclose the stuff to the public. They really do. Man, the public needs to know, but they just can't come up with the right method. Yeah. Can't come up with the right method. So, okay, I'm sure that checks out. That's, She says AARO will work to declassify and clear material for release to the public. Yeah, I'm sure they're working very hard. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. Let's see. This was a Twitter thread from Joe Murgia, U.F.O. Joe. Let's see. Anything interesting here? Intel committees need to keep the hammer down on governor bosses by taking this new route of not confirming leaks are even real. They know they cut back chances of MSM reporting. Yeah, that's true. If they said this was a real thing, then people would report on it and it would get much wider coverage. So they don't want it to get much wider coverage. So they are intentionally tamping down the interest on this, just as Bray and Moultrie did at the congressional hearing when they openly lied to Congress and the American people, with the agenda, presumably, of suppressing interest in the topic in general. So that is what Susan Gough is doing. That seems to be the agenda behind what Sean Kirkpatrick is also doing. That is the that's the official agenda, seemingly, of the government. So meanwhile, we have individual parties within the government that are leaking stuff. And, stuff from Chris Mellon is getting to Jeremy Corbell, and presumably he has other sources as well. So there are interested people that are interested in disclosure, but they are not running the show, unfortunately. Let's see. They do take covering their actions up seriously, somebody says. Somebody says, go needs to go. Haha. So I guess that is how you pronounce that. I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out she is in close cooperation, takes directives from the people of the program, somebody says. She tried to smear Lou, failed attempt. Yeah, well, anyway, so she's lying her butt off. They are lying their butt off. Sean Kirkpatrick is lying his butt off. Where is this all going? Are we going in a direction of disclosure? I would like to think so. I don't see that happening. I really don't. Not at an official level. However, we are getting semi-official stuff. I mean, a sitting congressman just said in a video that I released, last week, I talked about this. Representative Tim Burchett said, yeah, we've got ships. We're working on stuff. This is not from this world. We have not from this world material in our possession that we are working on. My cat just agreed with me. So we are getting semi-official stuff. I mean, again, that was a sitting congressman that said we have out of this world material in our possession. So that's kind of major. And we have leaks coming out. Some of them have been confirmed by the Pentagon, but apparently they kind of didn't think that through, possibly. They confirmed like the first 3 leaks that came out. And then they said, hey, wait a minute, what are we doing? We're just adding fuel to the fire here. So we are going to, take that back. We're not going to confirm any more leaks. And that seems to be what they're doing. They said, people are actually taking this seriously. They're getting interested in this. They're putting pressure on us. They're actually pushing for disclosure. We can't have that. How can we talk about disclosure? That would mean disclosing working with the beings. That would mean admitting to brainwashing the public for 70 years. That would mean admitting that we have ships that can do amazing things. I would be admitting alien abductions and possibly the government's complicity in alien abductions. So they're never going to do that. They're never going to do that, are they, Bax? Yeah, Baxter says no. How could they? How could they admit to being complicit in alien abductions? And then they would have to get into the nature of alien abductions. Why are people being abducted? What is the hybrid program? What are the beings up to? They would have to address all of this stuff. And they're not going to. They're not going to. I can see like 0 scenarios where they would do that. Unless, and here's where, there's 2 things. There's 2 ways we could get some sort of disclosure. And that's if the phenomenon itself, if the beings decided we were ready and decided to reveal themselves. So, that's one way it could go down. Another is a substantial leak or whistleblower that really blew the lid off of everything. And with evidence and documentation that could not be gainsaid. And that is possible. However, I think the people that have the juicy stuff are also the people under the most scrutiny. And also the people that have the really, really juicy stuff are in the program. They are part of the control group or under the sway of the control group. And the control group, they from what I have seen, they have a purpose. They have a mission. They have a cause. They aren't doing this randomly or blindly, I don't think. I don't think they can fully understand what they're dealing with. But yeah, they have a cause, and people with a cause often are willing to die for the cause or willing to go to great lengths to further their cause. So, they're less likely to come forward to talk to the public about this. Again, because they are believers in what they are doing. What are they doing? Well, I've talked many times about the evidence that the control group is working with the beings. I just did a video yesterday, and I may do a follow-up. The video just dropped this morning about, I think his name is Don Phillips, the engineer, the Skunkworks engineer, who saw UFOs, and he had friends that were in higher levels who were actually working with the beings, and they would tell him what they were doing. And I may do a follow-up specifically on that for tomorrow. But yeah, I've made a bunch of videos showing evidence for how we are working with the beings and how we are shooting at some of them and working with others, and being fired upon in return by some subset of the beings. So there is active involvement, multi-level active involvement with non-human entities that the government and possibly other governments are doing, are carrying out. And so to, open up that can of worms, how do you get one worm out? How do you just reveal one worm? When you open that can of worms, they all tend to come out. But I do think eventually they will be pressured into admitting, hey, there is a crash retrieval program, and that, yes, we do have some ships. And that's where they're going to leave it. That's going to be some ways down the road, but eventually they will be pressured into saying, hey, yeah, we've recovered some craft. And, their response will be, who knows where it came from? Could be Bigfoot. We don't know. It could be the Chinese. It could be the Russians. It could be time travelers. We don't know where it came from. We don't know anything about it. And so that's where they're going to leave it for, when they are finally forced to disclose, that's what they're going to say. And that's where it's going to stand for a while until there is some sort of whistleblower that can come forward with more evidence to compel them to reveal more. Or alternately, the phenomenon itself says, hey, these guys are ready. Let's reveal ourselves. So here's hoping that one of those things happens. If you guys see another way it can go down, another way that we can get disclosure, by all means, let me know, because I would like to be more optimistic on this. And if you see more reasons to be optimistic about the tenure of Sean Kirkpatrick with AARO, please let me know that as well, because I'm really not seeing much to be optimistic about with Sean Kirkpatrick. He seems like he's cut from the same cloth as Bray and Moultrie. And so I'm not feeling the love for Sean. But he could be under extreme pressure, and I'm sure he is, to do exactly what he's doing. But again, that doesn't fill me with confidence for Sean or AARO itself. But, trying to be chipper here. So if you guys see more reasons to be optimistic, let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think about Susan Go's comments. About how they are committed to disclosure, but we're not going to admit anything. On the one hand, she says, oh, we're committed to disclosure. On the other hand, she says, oh, what's that? Oh, that's from an unnamed source. I don't know what that is. Anyway, but please like this video, give it a big thumbs up, that'd be awesome. Please smash the subscribe button and the bell to be notified of future videos, that'd be great. And please share this video on social media when it drops. Until next time, this is Jack with Cosmic Road signing out.